Yeah,
Cool.
you sound good.
Thank you, friend. Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As y'all know, I talk about this person all the time, and I won't keep any secrets. Jessica's back.
Yay.
I can't control it. Jess is back. And, what did 50 say? Like, he goes and gets Doc and his checks come quicker. Is that what 50 says?
Girl, I don't know.
Oh, I think that's one. He's
Okay.
like, I go see Doc, basically Dr. Dre, and his checks come quicker. And I feel like when I need this
Mm.
pep, like I need to go get Jess.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love
See, look at
that.
us using rap
Yeah.
lyrics
I
and then
see. That's why I love you. That's the hip hop just
mm.
library that you have and the lyrics that you just pop out. It's beautiful. It's my
Girl,
heart.
thank you, friend.
Yeah.
It's an art.
Yeah.
Yes. How are you?
I'm good. I might sound a little horsey and mannish today because I
Hmm.
thought I was 21 last night and I went out and I went to go dancing with my cousin and my sister. And
Were you yelling as well when you
I
were
was
dancing?
singing a lot because they were playing
Oh.
some really good songs. I definitely was given the auntie vibes though because I didn't realize they took a lot of our songs from the 2000s and 90s and remixed them. So I would think it
Oh.
was one song and it wasn't. But then when they would play the original one, I would be dancing, right? And I would be the only one of few that would dance to the song. So,
Oh. Oh.
yeah,
What is that like at this stage having anti vibes at a club? Was it a club?
it was a
Was it
club.
like a
It was a
okay.
club. Yeah, it was like a bar club.
Okay.
So my cousin was DJing, so we went to
Okay.
go see her perform her set.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I guess it was a club. Yeah, it was a club. I was at the club. I'm gonna stop lying. I'm trying to be in denial. I'm trying to lie to myself, but it was a club. They had a VIP section, tons of VIP
Oh.
sections. They had a bar. They had a dance floor. It definitely was a club. It was not a bar. I was going to be like, oh, I went to a lounge. No,
No, you
it
didn't go to no lounge.
was a club. It was a club.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a guest
Okay.
list. We got there early. Okay.
That's peak anti. Like we get
Peak
in our
Angie
seats.
vibes. I got
Hmm.
there early. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how
Yeah.
did it feel? At first, it felt a little like I'm too old to be here a little bit. But
Hmm.
then, as the music was playing really good. Like when they would play good songs that I knew, I would be dancing, and they would play songs that I didn't know, and I was like, "Oh, I shouldn't be here." So the whole crowd is singing the song. I don't know who the fuck this is, right? I don't know. I knew
Mm-mm.
one girl, Lotto and Gorilla, but it was songs that I've never heard before. So I knew their voices, didn't know the song.
I think you got me there, friend. I don't even know their voices.
Girl,
I don't.
they are the
I don't follow
new
the rap
people.
kids.
Right, right. The new ones are they're interesting. They're interesting. So it was cool. I like to people watch and study and see dynamics. Nothing has changed in the club. It's just now people don't really dance together anymore. Well, they do dance together in circles. The guys don't go up to the girls trying to, booty bump them anymore. It's more the girls going to the guys, putting their butts on them, which is, progressive in a sense because it's giving them a choice. They have a choice and agency now.
I'm a woman. I am a
Right,
womanist.
right. But there
Yeah.
wasn't too much booty dancing, which was nice, and I didn't feel like my butt was going to be grabbed at any moment. So that was nice. So the predatory
Okay.
vibes are not as much as they were when we were in the club. Okay.
Okay.
And so I just danced, and I danced by myself. Got hit on by some young tenderonis, like way too young.
Okay.
Like I mean, way. Like I'm like, sir, stop looking at me. Okay, you are younger than my youngest brother, who I'm 13 years apart from. But they was one winked at me too. I said, "Oh, look at the
Oh.
confidence." Okay. I got hit on a lot last night. I was feeling like, hey, okay, yeah.
Girl, yes, because you look like you are their age.
Girl, I just the way my heart just fluttered, okay, right now. Because yeah, I love it. And I'm really not. I am in my 40. I'm 40,
You're 40,
with
girl.
hella kids,
Yeah,
lots of
yes.
responsibility.
You do got lots of a
So
full-time
I love
job.
that. I love
Yeah.
that, girl. I was like, look at this. And it was, Sacramento back in the day used to have a reputation of I didn't really get hit on a lot in the club per
Mhm.
se. Because I think, it was just the black women, black men thing. But a lot of the black men were hitting on me and my sister. I was like, look at this.
Okay,
Look
Rachel.
at this. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was
Mm.
crazy. And some guy was flirting with both of us and we watched him get in trouble with his girlfriend. I was like, oh shit. The universe has changed for me, okay?
You
I'm
out here
over here
breaking up
breaking up happy
homes.
homes. Huh?
And that's what I said. You out here breaking up homes.
Breaking up. She was pissed too. She walked by him, she hit him, and then he kept talking to us. Girl, she
Oh.
circled the fuck back and she was like, this doesn't feel good. And I was like, girl, me and my sister just slowly backed away. And he came up to us and he was like, I'm a real one and everybody just wants me. Okay. And I was like, I see. And walked smoothly away, girl. I was
Uh-huh. Yeah. Cause friend, it is you are too old to
girl,
be in some
girl,
club drama.
too old. Okay. Yeah, it was a lot of couples fighting in the club, that was interesting to me to see. But it wasn't a lot of men or women fighting. Everybody was really cool and nice. We got
Okay.
the fuck out of there by I would say 12:30. We had
Okay.
all agreed to leave, and that was
I
right up my alley. Yeah,
yes, yes. Um People bring sand to the beach at the club, so
right.
they're bringing their I mm,
Yeah, there was like two couples that night fighting. One girl, I mean, she just she either slapped him or they were fighting hard. They had to be escorted by security out because it was just very intense. And then, like I said, then the one that me and my sister, we were breaking up their home. They were fighting too. I was like, dang, I thought you came to the club to leave your man at home. That's what Destiny's Child said.
that's what they
Y'all not
said.
listening.
Nope. Nope. But that's what's wrong because this music now doesn't give them
Yeah.
correct instruction.
It doesn't give them instructions. And then everybody there was first of all, it was a lot of women at first, and then just a stampede of Negroes came in, and they all, and I mean a stampede. I felt like I was in the Lion King, and I get out of the fucking way. I was like, where did they all come from? Came from the back. I guess they were special. They bought VIP, which was the prices were ridiculous. The inflation right now, I got a Malibu and pineapple, friend. It was $14 for a
One
single
four.
glass of Malibu and pineapple.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I won't be going to the club ever again. That was enough for me. I did it. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's a stampede of Negroes came in. They all had
Mm-hmm.
VIP, and it just was
Okay.
interesting because they all came in obviously trying to show that they have some wealth, right?
Right.
They did not know how to talk to the ladies.
Yeah, so you got all this wealth and nobody to share it with.
Nobody, you guys are just sharing it with each other, and so they're all sitting there, and maybe the women are just not impressed by that anymore, which is great
Hmm.
because no women
Mm-hmm.
were around them. Like they
Hmm.
just everybody's just kind of looking at each other and some people are dancing, some people are not, but there wasn't really a lot of interaction with the opposite sex,
Yeah.
except for when the women wanted to go put their booties on somebody, then it would happen.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it wasn't
Be-
happening a lot. It was interesting, kind of sad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. I didn't do clubs as a young person.
Good
Um,
for you. Good, you didn't miss
you,
much.
you know, I first of all, my the way my anxiety is set up,
Listen.
I if I can't see clear exits,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I can't
yeah.
go. And I've gone to three clubs in my life. When I was 18, there maybe four. When I was 18, my cousin took me to this club in Chico called the Brickworks.
Mm,
And then when I was 21, cousin Ayana, she likes
yeah,
to get out there and dance.
yeah.
Took me to the Bear, which was in Chico.
Okay.
And that's when I saw my brother was there.
Oh Lord.
And he was like, "What are you doing here?" And then I was dancing with one of my friends from high school, and he came smooth over and said,
Right.
And I was like, "You can't tell me what to do. I'm 21." And
Yeah.
I listened. I went over and sat back down.
Right, girl.
And then here in Sacramento, I went to, they had the Hard Rock
They
that
did.
was downtown where Sauce is.
Damn. Yep.
And
Damn.
and and I went there with some friends from school.
Yeah.
And I remember taking a snooze. And I was sitting
In-
at a table,
Okay.
and I just did this and took a little
Wow.
siesta.
Wow.
And so yeah, I just never wasn't. I never. I just. Oh, and then there was one downtown. Maybe I've gone like five times. There was one downtown in Old Sac that you had to go down some stairs.
Oh shit. Yeah.
It was like a basement or
Yeah.
something.
It's
That didn't.
it was Cafe New Orleans, and there was another one. Was it called Skyline or something like that? Yeah, I know what you're talking about though. Damn.
I don't. I can't do basement clubs. I'm like, how do we get out of here if something
Yeah.
was to go down?
Girl.
Mm-mm. So yeah, maybe five clubs, and I only
Okay.
went because I felt peer pressured to go. Like, you
Yeah.
should come with us. We're getting over a breakup or
Oh
something.
Lord. Girl, your
Yeah.
friend over here was a club rat,
Were
okay?
you a club rat?
I was a club rat. Thursday to Sunday, I was in the club, okay? I was a club rat, okay? And I had a job, so I would go to the club,
Yeah.
get my little self up and go work at my job, girl. But I was and then go to class, girl. I was yeah, yeah, I was a club rat.
Oh, that was energy, friend. You need a
Yeah, I
bottle.
was
You should have bottled that.
right. And I didn't drink that much, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't
Yeah.
like going to like, drink. I was going to dance and to flirt, you know? So yeah,
Yeah.
I was in
Yeah.
the club, okay?
Yes.
In my little
Yes.
and we dressed differently back then. We dressed like we were going to like a business mixer. So I had my blazer on and my heels, and I had some dress pants one time and like a corset. I was like, the good old days, right? Like we all dressed up like we were going to a damn conference mixer. Girl, now titties out, okay? The titties
Yeah.
are out, the cheeks
Yes.
are out.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, I'm underdressed.
Mm-hmm. 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 I went and dropped my mom off. You know, she lives downtown near
Yeah.
Doco.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And yes, and I dropped her off the other day, and they had a concert. It was a Latino artist, and his
Yeah.
last name is Alejandro, and he's a
Okay.
cutie, right? I've seen
Okay.
the commercials. And this girl said, "Excuse me," because she was trying to park. "Do you have Apple Pay?" And I was like, "Yes." She was like, "We don't have a car, and we need to park. Could you pay like with your card, and then we can Apple Pay you?" And I was like, "Okay," and they were young. They looked like they could be my nieces. That's how
Yeah.
young they were. And so I was like, "Let me help these girls," and they were wearing these little like
Yeah.
little, I mean, skirt looked like
Right.
it belonged on one of my Barbies as a little kid. It was so little, and they were just so cute. And they're young, right? So it's like, I have this body, this is how I want to express, like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
do it, right?
Yeah.
But while I'm paying, and they're getting my phone numbers, they can send me the money. We're talking about the concert. So I was like, who's playing tonight? And she tells me. I was like, oh, she's like, I don't know if you've heard of him, but, and I said, oh yes, I have. I saw the commercials. I was like, he's a cutie. And then she was like, we're close to the stage. And so we're talking about this concert. And I said to them, I was like, I felt like a mom. I said, okay, ladies, just get to the car, stay with each other.
Yeah.
Do you
Oh.
have a coat? It's going to be cold when you get out. And they were like, thank you so much. God bless you. You're so sweet. But I just felt like I needed
Yeah.
to protect them.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and I think I say this all the time, like, the onus is not on the women. We need to put more of an ownership
On the
on
men.
men, and
Yeah.
like how
Or
they act, because they have the right to wear those little ass skirts.
they do. They
But I
do.
was just like, girl, you're gonna be cold.
You gonna be cold. And it's kind of sad too because in the oh now I'm getting dark. Here we go. In the club, like I can clearly see like who was there to solicit, if that makes sense. Like some girls
Mm,
were really circling around, kind of looking for um a John or a trick, right?
mm, mm.
And I don't know their story, right? And there's no shame on that at all. But I also wonder how much of it is their own agency, right, versus
Yeah,
their need to try to get attention and to
yeah.
get noticed, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the one dynamic that I don't like about the club, as I am this kind of awoken woman, is that you can clearly see the dynamics between men and women. You clearly can see the dynamics between like the hypersexualization of women and men.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the environment. Like I said, we felt safe last night, but I can imagine other clubs like there when I was growing, when I was in the club, when I was a club rat.
Mm,
Not that anything happened to me, but there were always stories about women being grabbed. There have been stories about like men just grabbing women's butts, women grabbing men's stuff, you know,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and this just very kind of predatory environment, and it kind of is that because you got this loud bumping music, you got alcohol going, people are on other drugs too as well, and then you just have these group of young people trying to explore their sexuality in some sense, right? And some of
Mm-hmm.
it is their autonomy and some of it is coerced. So it just it's interesting dynamic. But yeah, I agree with you. The women's clothes have gotten less and less, and I don't know if that's giving them the attention that they're wanting, right? Like it might, but like in
Mm-hmm.
the club, I did see the men kind of talking to the women that had more clothes on, if you will. And I would have
Mm.
thought that back in my day it would have been the opposite,
It would
right?
have been the
The
opposite.
woman with the less clothes, oh, all the guys are going to her, right? um, the business casual girls, we didn't
No.
really get that much approach, but I think so. I'm wondering how that dynamic is shifting. Like, are women now um, kind of becoming this hyperly sexualized version due to what the ways in which men have been towards us in a club environment? You know what I mean? I
That's
can be with you.
interesting.
So,
That's an interesting
girl,
thought,
too
friend.
much, right? I just went to
Yeah.
go dance. My purpose was to dance. I really wanted to get out and dance. I didn't need to psychoanalyze any of these people.
Right, but I think that's what happens when
Yeah,
you start either studying psychology,
yeah,
becoming a therapist, or even just how you think about things in the world. Like, if you
yeah,
are a social commentator, if
yeah,
you are like, I think when your eyes are open to things, you just can't shut it off.
No.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, like some environments, I'm like, I already know I should not go because I'm going to be like, what is going on here?
Girl,
I
right.
do it all the time.
Yeah. Yep.
You know,
Yep.
like there's a need, like some people have a need to control things. So I'm always like, instead of being so angry at their need to control, I'm just kind of like, what is that about? Like,
Yeah.
what's missing where you
Yeah.
feel, even with myself, if I have a need to control something, I have to stop and be like, what is this saying about what's going on with me right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Like
Friend, can we
losing
pause
control.
real quick? I just want to get my
Yeah.
hot chocolate. I'll be right back.
Oh yes, we can pause. Let
Okay.
me mark where we
Okay.
paused.
Okay. Sorry. Just real quick.
Oh no, you're fine.
My alarm isn't on.
You know Dan's my editor.
Oh,
So I gotta
yes.
give him timestamps, girl, because he
Okay.
gets
Okay. I'm
frustrated
back.
with me. Okay, hold on. Yes, I had you at 20,
Oh, yeah.
40.
That's the stuff. Girl,
Okay.
coffee. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
forgot where we left. Oh, but
Just analyzing people. Yeah. I
yeah.
can't turn it off. I mean, it's probably why I don't go to strip clubs, right? Because I'm going to want to sit down and talk to them. I also
Oh
don't like
yeah.
throwing money at strippers. So I like to hand it to them and tell them thank you for their job. You know? I've gotten in trouble for that because they're like, you gotta hand her the money. I said, I need to hand it to her. I don't feel right about throwing it on her. She's a person.
She's a human being. Well,
She's a
that's
human
like
being.
that man that was shaking his junk at your paint
My
and
birthday
sip.
party.
I was like,
Yeah,
what is your Zelle? Spell it
girl.
for me, please.
Right. Y'all
Okay.
picked him.
We tipped him and we were all taking care, well, some of us were taking care of him like he was our child. Like I was said, sir, put your sweats back on. You don't need to do this anymore.
We
I
gave
didn't
him a
know you were
plate
going to do all
of food.
this anyway.
Girl, gave him a plate of, sent him home a plate of food. You know what I mean? Girl, I packed him up a plate of food. You want anything else? Auntie, okay?
That's
Tell me about your
exactly.
life too. Like, how'd you get here? Right.
Yeah. You were a dancer. Oh, we had a whole conversation with him while we were painting.
Yeah, yeah.
We were supposed to be painting him. Yeah, friend, I need to write a story about that party.
You should write
Be
one.
We
Yeah,
should write a story because
yeah.
this is the stage of life. I First of all, I told you I was bamboozled one time with a stripper coming to an event when I was in college as an undergrad, and I was so shocked,
Yeah,
and I didn't know what to, and he came up and he was trying to pop it in my face, and I said, "Oh no, 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 no!" And I
yeah,
got out of there and ran like
yeah.
Rev did on Friday, like ran out of there, friend. I said, "Oh no, mm-mm. I don't like people gyrating in my face. I
Girl,
feel
I
like
don't either.
it's too much,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
it's like ill."
yeah.
And that's why when he was coming near me at your party, and Rachel said, if you don't want him, come hold up your penis straw.
Right,
And I had mine up like the woman in church, like
right,
with the finger. My penis straw was up, and I was just avoiding eye contact. I was just
right,
painting.
right.
Yeah, but I don't like it. So
Yeah,
I was trying to take care of him.
yeah. And like just again, I was just so fascinated. Like you do this all the time, like, and so you have all these women who are just preying on you, basically,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
some of the stories he tells, like, oh, they be getting nasty, okay?
They get nasty. My mom told me that she went to my aunt Diane. You remember my aunt Diane who passed recently,
Yes,
and
yes.
she had a party. And my mom said they invited strippers. My mom is like me. My mom said she took it. She went upstairs like hell no, and
Mm.
she said all she can hear was my aunt downstairs like wah, wah. And my mom said it's not. I don't even know why she was doing all that.
Girl, the male strippers be aggressive.
They're aggressive.
They're aggressive, and that I don't want an aggressive thing in my face. Okay, like
No. Mm-mm. And we were asking him, like, you tape it up?
I know that
Is
was
that
a
hard for
lot.
you? Yeah.
Yeah, the
We
little
were
restrict
really,
thing. Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
he's
Oh,
like,
no.
I'm about to pass out, y'all, so we gotta hurry up. I said, oh shit. I can't be having no hurt stripper at my house now. Okay, could you imagine? I'm calling the police immediately. So, police, he got a thing around his dick, and he out. I don't know what to do. Should we take it off?
we would probably call Dan.
Oh
We'd
God!
be like, we have a
You would
medic in
call
our
Dan.
life.
I couldn't be in trouble. You would call Dan. I wouldn't. I'd be like, Dan, I don't know why she called you. Okay,
I would call
why she
Dan.
called you? He gonna be like, you cannot go to Jessica's house. She has dead strippers. Okay.
Now I'm unwrapping plastic from his ass.
I know, girl, because I would have been like, let me get the scissors. We gotta cut it off immediately. Elevate his head. I don't know. Cut the tape off of him.
Because Dan's a professional, girl. He probably put his little gloves
right.
on.
Right. He'd be like, sir, brother, why are you doing this? Why?
And then they would go outside and
You got it
meditate.
on?
Right. They'd go outside and meditate, and he'd send them
They
along his
would.
way. Yeah.
And Dan probably would give him a lot of great encouraging words of like, you don't have to do this. Or if you do it next time, buddy, just do it an hour times, okay? Don't do more than that.
No. Don't you do that. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Do you want to introduce yourself? Do you have anything that you want to say to the village?
Right. Hi, everybody. I'm Jessica.
We came in hot.
We came in hot. It's been a minute.
It has been a minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're Jessica. I call you Jess.
Jessica. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With just a CA, not a CAH, not a CAKUH. You're just.
And you know that messes me up all the goddamn time when I see that.
I know.
I was like, Jessica? No, girl, it's just Jessica. Why's the K there? K throws me off.
Right. Because you know how you are.
No, the name it's me. It's nobody else. It is literally me. I do not know how to pronounce people's names. I spell them sometimes too. I don't know how to spell them.
Yeah. I had a dream recently about you trying to help someone pronounce grievous. I did, because we have been friends forever. And one day I just caught it. And you've been saying it like this the whole time.
The whole time. I've been saying it wrong. I know I have.
You've been saying it wrong. And it was hilarious because I said, what did you just say? And you're like, your name. All indignant and shit. Your name. And I was like,
name. Like, that's not how you say it.
That's not how you say it. And you were like, what? I was like,
what do you mean?
Yeah, I was like, it's grievous, like previous with a G. You were like, bitch, seriously? And I had to say seriously.
Girl, there's a skit on Key and Peele, and it's a substitute teacher that is going to a white school pronouncing all the names, the basic names though, like wrong.
Blake, Blockade.
Aaron. Is there an Aaron here? That's me. It is me all day. Oh,
Yes. Every time I see that skit, I think of you because that is you.
That girl. That's why I can't be no teacher. Okay. I'm a mess a name up.
You are. Right?
I don't even say the name sometimes because I know I'm going to mess it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, you most definitely are. But yes, you're Jessica. Welcome, friend.
Yes. Thank you.
Love you for being here, and love you anyways.
I'm happy to be back. I'm happy that you're still having me back. You know what I mean?
Yes, of course. I'm like, oh, I need to talk. Like, even when we talk regularly, I'm like, this is such a podcast episode.
All our talks are podcasts.
pretty
They really
much.
are. We might have to start saying, "Oh, we do TED Talks every morning."
Especially our voice memos.
Oh gosh, right, girl, they be 14 minutes sometimes.
They be 14 minutes. And Dan is like, why don't you all just call each other? I was like,
Hmm.
I don't know. We just do this and we
Sometimes we do
carry
call
on.
each other.
We do call each other, but sometimes it's like I know she at work. So I'm just gonna
Yeah,
give her a little
yeah,
message that
yeah.
turns into 23 minutes.
Girl, 23 minutes, okay? I'd be like, girl, let me tell you about today. So I woke up this morning and the sky was green and go in.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, I love
Mm,
that for us though.
I do. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Mhm.
Well, friend, what book are you reading right now?
Okay, this is right on brand because speaking of names, her name is Tommy
Mm,
Adami? Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Atomy? I don't know. But she wrote a book called Children of Blood and Born. And so I'm reading her third edition of the book. It's Children of Anguish and Anarchy. So it's like a
Oh,
sci-fi, Nigerian-ish, Afro-futuristic sci-fi genre, which has been my jam.
yes.
I have several authors in my library now. Two of them I had to stop because it was a little bit too dark, and I was like, I'll come back to it. But this one is still very dark, but it's I can do it, right? So they're getting ready to do a movie about it. So I wanted to make sure that I was together.
Okay.
It's like the Harry Potter for melanin people. Um, yeah. Because Harry Potter was my shit too, but I never read the books. I just like the movies.
You just like the movies.
But this, I have been in it. I have been in it. Oh yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to when the movie comes out. We'll have to have Imani on because I talked to Imani
Oh
Mitchell.
yeah.
She's been
Mm-hmm.
on the and I will say to her like you got to come on so that we can critique these movies because we were
Yes.
critiquing The Color Purple that time when we saw that play.
Girl, the musical.
And yes, the musical. And Imani was like, "Oh yeah," like, and
Yeah.
I told her that she's got to come on with the two of us, and we need to critique some shows or movies that have came out.
Yes. Because I would love her take, and that this movie was a long time ago though, and we I think we were kind of talking about it on Facebook, but I would love to for her and I to revisit Us by Jordan Peele.
Hmm.
Because he has a new one coming out called Him. He just not like a full title, okay? He just will not like a full title. And I still haven't seen Nope. But I like where he goes as a director as far as these very like deep controversial conspiracy things. They just sometimes like you gotta watch it several times. I don't really have the time for it. That's why I haven't seen Nope yet. But yeah, I would love her take on that because there's several movies coming up. So
Hmm.
and TV shows. So yes, please, that would be beautiful.
Okay, I
Yeah.
will. I will ask her because she was like, "Yeah, I'm down with it." Because
Yeah.
films and
Yes.
acting and she's one of those like we don't need to keep having these trauma narratives.
No, we don't. We don't. That's
Yeah.
that's why I'm excited for this movie to come out because it just shows us in a different world, right? Because I think sometimes when white people write about the future or magic or whatever, the sci-fi, the imagination, I don't know what the genre is, but they always leave us out. Like we don't
Hmm.
experience these things as well, right? And so
Hmm.
I like this book because while it is based in like Africa, or I think it's based in Nigeria. Um, it is based in Nigeria, I think. It just shows kind of the similar dynamics of oppression, but it allows for Black people to have a space in magic as well, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it not be tied to white people, if that
Mm.
you know what I mean. Like this world that Tommy created is really uh, isolated from white people. They're not even in the story. I mean, I think there are some characters who may represent some Asian identities, but really, it's just us.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Mm-hmm.
us.
And
So I
sometimes
and I
that's,
love the writer.
yeah, and it's
Yeah,
comforting.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Mm.
comforting and it's good to see us just in a different light. You know what I mean? In a different light. And so I'm happy they greenlit the movie being done. I'm
Yeah.
also gonna probably see Sinners
Oh, I
Michael B.
see.
Jordan and
Oh.
Ryan Coogler. I'm not a Michael B. Jordan fan, so when the movie first came out and it was him playing twins, I was like, I have to have two people that have the same look. He don't change his look. That boy don't change his look. Okay. Except when he got locks, fake locks for Black Panther.
Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm.
But I'm hearing it's really good. And I like the love interest that he has in the movie. But yeah, so I'm happy to see more stories of us outside of,
Yeah.
oppression. There's always have to be a little bit in it, unfortunately, but I just like to see us, do different things. I want us to have better love movies too. So maybe that'll
Yeah.
be because we need those not toxic, we need secure attachment movies about
We need
love.
secure attachment movies about love. I saw the previews for Sinners like everybody else, and
Yeah,
friend, I don't do
right.
scary. Hell,
Yeah,
I barely do suspenseful.
girl.
But I like suspense, but it creates this rumbling in me. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
if I go to the theater and see Sinners, I can't really
No.
get up at the rate that I would at home because every time something happens, I can't just exit because I would. So we may have to sit at the corner. But if not, I'll just have my blanket like this. I'll bring a blanket.
Girl, let me tell you, I haven't watched a scary movie in a long time, right? Oh no, I
Mm.
take that back. I watched the second season of them. And when I tell you I was up for 3 days, I was up
I
for
know.
3 days.
I remember you telling. I said, "Mm-mm,
Yeah, so
nope."
I'm sure I'm gonna be up for 3 days after this. I'm going because me and my brother, we like vampire movies. I haven't really seen a good one in a minute. Um, so and this one got a standing ovation, but I'm gonna be scared. I'm gonna be scared,
See, I don't like people biting necks and blood. I just that just.
girl. Mm-mm. Girl, and I tried to tell my mama, I was like, "You want to come with us?" She said, "Hell no." She said, "I saw the previews." She said, "When that lady said I'm about to kill all y'all tonight, I'm not going to see that shit." She didn't say shit, but she's like, "I'm not seeing that shit." No, it'd be just me and my brother. Right? We'll go see it, and he loves horror movies, so he gonna
See,
be looking at me like, "Why are you jumping so much? The previews just started, girl."
see, that would be me going with Dan, and if I was like a first date or something, he'd be like, "I got her,"
Got her.
because
You ain't gonna go. You not leaving. You take me to a
right,
scary movie. You think you gonna go home after that? You live here now, okay?
she
Don't
coming
take my kids.
home with me.
Right. Right.
How many kernels of popcorn will it take you to leave with me? That would be Dan. Yeah.
Listen, just
Hmm.
the scary movie would, yeah, I wouldn't even go
Yeah.
on a
Mm-mm.
first date.
No,
Mm,
not on the first date. But if
yeah,
that happened, yeah, Dan and I would get
yeah,
married the next week.
we gotta get married.
Hmm.
You got to be here because
Hmm.
you're not gonna send me home and then I gotta worry about the monster being in my closet. Okay, like that don't
No,
make no sense.
no. Mm-mm. Or
So
Michael B. Jordan's
I would
twin.
probably text you on. I think we're gonna see it on Friday. I'm like,
Oh,
girl,
oh.
it's I'm up still. Okay, the vampire is going to get me. They outside my window. You know, you gonna be like, friend, it's a movie.
Mm-mm. I'm not going to tell you that because I'd be like, girl,
Yeah.
lock up. Turn
Don't
your
let him
alarm
in.
on.
Don't let him in. Okay.
Mm-mm.
Don't look him in the eye. Don't
No,
look him in the eye because you're gonna be done. Okay.
you're going to be done, friend.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm. Um, I'm reading The Day God Saw Me as Black. Actually, I just finished it. And it's
Ooh.
The Journey to Liberated Faith. It's by D. Danielle Thomas.
Oh my gosh.
And
Beautiful.
basically, it's centering Black faith and spirituality. And
Mm.
it's a cultural critique of white supremacy within the Black Pentecostal
Yeah.
religious experience.
Yep.
So
Ooh.
it explores themes of race, gender, sexual expression, and class.
Mm.
And its narrative, it weaves between critique and meditation and decolonization and reconciliation, and it's very, very personal. And it says,
Wow.
what could we be if we stopped denying ourselves and each other of full liberation?
Yeah. Mm.
Super good.
And you're almost done with it, friend. You read books, okay?
Oh no, girl, I'm done. I'm done.
Oh, you're
This is
done.
just my little this.
Okay. You
Yes,
are done with it.
yeah,
Wow.
that's my little marker of a note that I had to myself.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, yeah. So
Oh, yeah.
it's really good. It
Mm.
was a good pick for me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Love it. I love it.
What is a song that you randomly start singing often? So, like, if you are cleaning up and this song just always pops up, do you have one?
Girl, and I have one for the moment, right? And it's funny. It is very funny. Okay. I don't know why this song popped in my head. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's from G Unit. It's by Young Buck. It's called Let Me In. And he's basically saying, you're gonna let me in this club with a gun. And that has popped up in my head and I have been singing that out loud. Don't know why.
Are you
That you
trying to get into something? Like
know.
in the house? Oh.
I was like, why did this Young Buck song come out? You know what also happened? Songs enter my head from my adolescence that I liked,
Hmm.
are like my early adult stages, and I don't have them anymore because I used to have all these CDs. So when they pop in, I'm like, oh, I love that song, and I will hold it. But it's that right now, and I think with in the past it's been Notorious Thugs.
Okay, great. Yes.
Mhm.
I I think for me, and this has been for a very long time. Like I could be in the kitchen cleaning up or something, or cooking or stirring or getting ready for my day. I kid you not. And I will just break out with meeting in the ladies' room. Like I'll
Shut
just be like, I don't know, but I think you better watch out. Like I will just bust out with it, and like Alex be like, oh, every day. But that's what I sing.
Tina.
Me in the ladies' room. Yeah, I don't know
Wow,
why I do that, and I quote it all the time.
that is
Yeah,
hilarious.
watch out, watch out, watch out. Like I,
Girl, that is hilarious.
yeah. As soon as I learn to play it on a guitar,
Girl,
you're gonna
yes.
get videos of me doing it.
Where were you? Do you remember where you were when you first heard that song?
Probably with my mom getting ready for a club. You know, she
Shut
talks about
up.
Beale Air Force Base. Her and my auntie would,
Yes.
and that was when they would wear like full on dresses.
Right. They would get dressed up,
They would
okay?
get like,
With the shoulder pads, okay? The shoulder pads with padding. Okay.
that's why I think I first remember hearing that.
Mhm.
And also Saturday Love by
Yes.
Alexander
Oh,
O'Neill and
yeah,
Sherelle. Like
yeah,
those are two songs that for some reation that I
yeah.
associate with my mom getting ready.
I love it. Yeah,
But
yeah.
she, like, we always make fun of her, Nate and I, because we're like, that's all you were doing was going to Beale Air Force Base at the club. Like, this does not make sense. So I told her one day, I'm like, were you ever at home with your kids?
Right.
She was like, your grandmother would say, go have fun. I got the kids. When you come over, there is a picture of my mom, Nate, and
Mhm,
I, like a professional photo. It's hanging on my wall.
uh-huh.
And I remember I don't even think I asked her about her being in the picture. She told me like this picture was just supposed to be for you and Nate, but you would not calm down. I had to get in the picture with you.
Mhm.
My mom is wearing like this red striped dress. Her hair is done. And she was like, I had just got finished from partying and I had to take y'all to your photo appointment. And
Wow.
I said, so you were out all night.
All night.
And the picture, she is sitting up there in her party dress,
Oh,
thinking
wow.
that it was just going to be Nate and I.
I could see your mom too in a red dress.
She
Okay.
she was in a
Yeah.
red
I could
dress.
see her in that.
Yeah, she'd probably be like upset that I told this story, but
Girl, that's okay. I
it's my
heard the song in
truth.
the car with my mama. She was driving me to school, and it came on the radio, I want to say. And I was like, just fascinated by the lyrics. Like, I got a meeting in the ladies' room. Be back real soon. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
shoot. They about to fight. Like,
they about to fight, girl. She's like,
yeah.
don't slap me, cause I'm not
Hmm.
in the mood.
That's what made me remember the song. Because I was just
Yeah,
like, what is this?
yeah, yeah. She told that woman,
Right.
"Excuse me, lady, this man's with me."
Girl, he looks good, good enough to eat. He can have me, baby. He belongs to me. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, chill. When we go to the club and somebody talking to my man, we ain't going to the ladies' room. Like that girl did to us. This doesn't feel good.
I'm
See,
gonna
the
use
young
my
girl's not gonna
words.
tell me about the fact your feelings. You're gaslighting me and you're manipulating me. Okay, I'm not gonna go in the ladies' room and huddle. I'm gonna tell you right to your face. Okay, you're being very avoidant attachment style right now.
I'm gonna be like, use your words, Jess.
Right? Tell them how you feel. This doesn't feel good. My feelings are hurt.
Right? This does not offer her joy.
Right? You're putting me in a state. Actually, was very proud of that young lady because she told him this does not feel good. I was
Yeah,
like, you know what? How powerful was that for you to tell this man, I don't
yeah,
like what the fuck you're doing right now? And she
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
talk to us. She talked directly to him. She's like,
Absolutely, because that's what
this
she should have
doesn't feel
done.
good.
Because he's the
I was
one
proud of
in
her.
a relationship.
Right,
You need to
right.
address him, ma'am. And I love that she did that. And I
I did
hope that's
too.
her boundary.
I hope that was her boundary too. I hope because he also was like, mid. She was beautiful. She had cheeks were out too. She had a see-through dress on with like a thong. So she came to, well, I don't think I would wear that in front of, maybe I would. I don't know. But anyway, so she was looking good. And he's like mid. You know what I mean? I'm like, girl, you go find somebody else.
Yeah,
I
girl.
appreciate
Yeah.
you telling him your feelings in that moment because,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's what I
yeah.
would encourage you to do, friend. I would be like, you better name your truth.
Girl,
Well,
no.
and I would break out the feelings wheel and on my
In
keychain,
the
and I
club.
would say, which one of these? That's the core. What's
Right.
underneath that?
We would have a whole the couple therapy session with you in the back of the bar, the club. You hear what she's saying? Okay, now Jessica, does that feel good? Okay. All right, guys.
Break. Got a meeting, and I go out back
Right,
on the floor.
right, girl.
Yeah, or go to
Yeah.
sleep because yeah. What
You
are
went to sleep in the club. That's interesting. You went to
yeah
sleep in the club. That's great. I could
yeah
never do that.
yeah. I took a
Yeah.
little nap. I
Yeah.
said, "This is. I don't like this. I'm uncomfortable." I
Hmm.
don't know what made me so comfortable to like take a little snooze.
Yeah. I mean, the clubs are kind of boring though. If you're not dancing or talking to people,
Yeah
they can
yeah
be kind of boring. You just sit there looking at people,
yeah
do their thing, right?
yeah.
So
Because I'm
yeah,
not a dancer, friend.
yeah, you are a
S-
dancer, but
Well,
okay.
I have a strong body roll,
Mean body roll,
mean
okay?
body roll. That's all I could.
Mean,
That's and I do this.
right,
That's
right,
it.
yeah,
So I'm stuck
yeah,
in the 80s and 90s. I have a
yeah.
snake.
Me too, me too.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm not even doing the latest dances, right? I'm
Oh.
doing the dances from the 2000s.
Were you Harlem shaking? Were
Harlem
you?
Shaking. When they played Wipe Me Down, I was the only one doing the shoulders, chest, knees. Everybody else was just regular dancing. I thought that was the moment to really do the, Wipe Me Down stuff. But everybody was like, we don't do that no more, sis. on
They
TV.
probably didn't even know what you were doing.
They didn't know what I was doing. And I was like, oh damn, I'm the yep, yep, yeah.
That's you,
They played
friend.
all my songs from my era, but no one
Yeah.
from my era was really there.
Yeah, because I would have just been picking you up. Like,
Yeah,
I would have pulled up.
yeah,
So I probably would have heard it from the car. But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So,
that's my role. I pick people up.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, friend, you have a lot of things going on right now. And I just want to be one of the first publicly, because I've been telling you this for the whole year, to say, bitch, congratulations
yeah,
for your pending
yeah,
graduation next month from one of the most prestigious universities in these
yeah.
here United States. And
Oh, thank you, friend.
going
Mm,
back to school when you are older with responsibilities, because I've gone back to school each time for the upper degrees with a
yeah,
child at
yeah.
various ages.
Mm-hmm.
And so life is busy, but also I've noticed that my brain does not process things at the
Yeah.
rate that it did. So, for example, I was able to stay up all night, go to
Mm-hmm.
class at 8. My
Mm-hmm.
paper was due at 4 for the
Mm-hmm.
next class, and I would be able to write 8 pages, no problem.
Mm.
Now it takes me very long to
Days.
days. I do my papers in sections
Me
because
too.
I'm like, I'm
Yep.
tired, I have a lot going on. So for you to be able to do that with 2 children who are under 5 and who are playing with all of the toys that I have bought them that make noise and have destroyed your home,
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to be the first to say, bitch, you did it. And
Thank
I
you,
am
friend.
uberly proud of you and this accomplishment. Um, I
Mm,
can't wait to see what's next.
girl, nothing. Not a damn thing.
Oh,
Okay.
so no PhD.
Hell fucking no. And
Really?
I mean that with all disrespect. Yeah, no. I mean that with all disrespect. I'm gonna be there for you. You know what I mean? I'm gonna show. I'm gonna have my signs when you ready to have your graduation for yours, girl. Hell, no, I don't got it in me no more. Right? Maybe when the kids are older and they're
Okay.
like in their teens, and if I'm feeling a little bit like, oh, empty nester syndrome, maybe I'll do it. But hell, fucking no, girl. Hell fucking because two things, right? I again becoming an awakened woman.
Mhm,
I needed to do it. It was really helpful during my transformation, moving back out here.
mhm,
It also is a field that I want to continue to explore. Love behavioral health. I was honored to get into the school. Columbia was surprised as hell I got in, and they offered me part time to help me work while I do everything and all that stuff. And I've had some great discussions and really learning about the clinical field of therapy of behavioral health and. What type of therapist do I want to be, right? So it gave me some beautiful insight. I think I'll definitely use it as a badge of honor, especially with advocating for my children, right?
mhm,
Being a social worker, being in the behavioral health field, you get a little bit more insight to how
mhm,
these things come up. Being a therapist in general, right? I think I do see the privilege of that, right? And I'm glad to have that. I
mhm,
think it came at the right time.
mhm,
And I also am so exhausted, right?
mhm.
I know as Black women, we go get more degrees
Yeah.
to cope with pain, and that's definitely what I did. I think I told you it was either hoeing or going to school. Which one are we going to do? Okay,
And I said, I'll
go to
support
school.
you
Yeah,
either way,
right,
but let's,
right.
you know.
Don't do it. Either I'm gonna be dating a lot of men or I'm gonna focus on my healing and go to fucking school,
Yeah.
right? That's what I did, and it was great. It was great. Like I said, I'm happy to get it done. I'm happy to get it done too with the kids being so young now, because
Yeah.
I also struggled with I don't they need me because it's two of
Mhm.
them, right? They
Mhm.
need me, and they're both different. So I'm happy to be done to really just be able to not be so much in the busyness of things, right?
Yeah.
Like the deadlines of papers and presentations and having to read and shit. And then the practicum is so stupid to me to have to do a practicum and our internship when a lot of us are working, right? So I just think it wasn't set up for me to be a professional.
Yeah.
Um, and at the same time, like I said, I'm happy I'm done with it, but I'm not going back to school, friend. I'm taking a deep rest this summer, and I'm
Okay.
going to just focus inward on my home. And I'm gonna do some hours, of course, to get for the licensing exam, but I'm gonna just take the time on that,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah, Alex, it's so funny. We had a conversation the other day and he said, "Mom, when do you graduate
Yeah.
with, your PhD?" And I was like, "Yeah, 2027, I believe." And he was like,
Oh,
"Oh,
so nice.
yeah, he's like, "Oh, I'll be a sophomore in college."
Yeah.
And I said, "Yes, you would." So his whole life, I have gone back
Going to
to
school.
school. So
Yeah.
he's known me as a person that goes to
Yeah.
school. And I sometimes have guilt about that. And him and I've had a conversation about me being in school, even when I made the decision to go back for this last one.
Hmm.
And I asked him how he felt about it, because if he was against it, in my mind, I didn't tell him this, but if he was against it, then I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
I would have waited.
Yeah.
And he just said, "Yeah, you love school and you always show up. So
Yeah.
like I'm not." And I was like, "Oh, that's what," cuz I always worried that I
Yeah.
was not present
Hmm.
where he felt
Hmm.
presence from me.
Hmm.
But for him to confirm, like, "No, you've always been present. Like, you come to the events,
Yeah. Yeah.
take all the pictures, you
Yeah.
drop me off, you make time to come pick me up, like you don't put me off on other people." Well, except for
Right.
grandma on Tuesdays, she takes them to school. But
That's
other than yeah, other than
that's
that, yeah. So that was good for me to hear, to get that
yeah.
confirmation, because that was something I
Yeah.
struggled with. Hmm.
Yeah, and I think I struggle with that too, friend. Like, am I being present enough? Am I always on the go with something, right? And I
Hmm.
think, you know, I wanted it. I wanted when I first got into school. I wanted it for different reasons than I want it
Mm.
now. Like, it used to be okay because I really want to oversee a department of behavioral health, right, and be
Yeah.
like a director. Now, girl, hell no. I got exposed to the system and how things work.
Hmm.
I'd rather do some consulting on the side. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like I wanted to do it so I can create a life of ease for me and the kids,
Hmm.
so that I can be present more. Like,
Yeah.
right now we have a pretty good setup where I don't have to rush to get them to school, outside of them having to be on time, right? But we can walk to school. I
Hmm.
can take my time with making sure Riyadh gets adjusted into his preschool class before leaving. I don't have to just rush off. I can go get
Hmm.
them at 3 p.m.,
Yeah.
when I need to, get them from school. And I just don't want to, I didn't, I wanted it to create that lifestyle, right? So
Hmm.
that way I can still do what I'm good at, but also to know when to clock off, clock on, right? So that I
Hmm.
can be present for the kids a little bit more.
Hmm.
Because I would imagine with the two of them, for me, I'm gonna have to just seeing their energy, get them involved a little bit more in outside activities.
Yeah.
And like I want to eventually get Naima into soccer, so I just want to be available, right? And I don't want to. Hopefully, I don't get bored, right? Because that's my issue.
Hmm.
I get bored and be like, oh, okay, let me go do the next accomplishment. but really, I just want to see what life would be like, not in the hustle of it all, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
really choosing where I want to put my energy
Yeah.
and not being in the busyness. Because, like I said, I do think it was part of my healing journey. And now that that journey is subsided,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to live life. If that makes sense for a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why one of the reasons why I made the decision to go into private practice when I
Hmm.
did was one, I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and two, Alex is going to graduate from high school next year. And so I wanted to make sure that I was going to be available and present
Yeah.
so I can set my own schedule for the most part of when I'm going to do things.
Right.
And he probably, I love, at times, I love us being in the car together, like
Yeah.
taking him to school, because
Hmm.
that's one of the ways that we've always connected was in route to
Yeah.
something like processing the day or
Yeah.
talking about. And we had, like, as he's gotten older, even when he was little, but as he's gotten older, we've had some really complex conversations. I got to have like this little insight into him,
Yeah.
um his humanity and how he shows up for the people in his life, how he
Yeah.
is a loyal friend. Like, I asked him something and he goes, yeah, they do, but I'll never tell you who it is. And I'm like, I don't
Mm.
want to know,
Right.
but then I do. Like,
Yeah.
but like his loyalty, his kindness,
Yeah.
what grinds his gears,
Yeah.
like in real time. And, I don't want to be away from that. And
Yeah.
that is probably one of the things I'm going to miss when he starts driving on his own, is
Yeah.
like, oh, we don't get to spend that time together.
Yeah.
So that is going to be something as well. And I don't think I ever thought about it in those ways, because we're always wanting them to get to the next phase.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I'm trying to just slow down because, like you warned me, the shit goes by fast with the kids,
It goes
right?
by
And
fast.
I'm already having a sense of like, not sadness, but I'm seeing Riyadh turn into like a kid, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that baby that my baby, right? He's not my baby. He's still a 2 year old, so he's still my baby.
Mm-hmm.
But as I'm watching him grow and kind of turn into this little, kid, I'm like, all that babiness of you is gonna slowly leave. Like
Mm-hmm.
Naima's in this um, early child phase, like kindergarten phase,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so
Mm-hmm.
she still has her babiness to her, but not really, right?
Yeah.
um,
Mm-hmm.
very much aware of what the hell's going on and what she wants. And Riyadh, like I still sniff his neck, because he still has that baby smell on him.
Mm-hmm.
He's still very much close to me. I sometimes watch him sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh my gosh, this eventually well, maybe not. They might always be close to me, but they're just going to start being more independent, right? And there will
Yeah.
be a new journey for me to navigate with this development, right? So,
Yes.
of them. So I'm also trying to just take it one day at a time and appreciate them, which
Yeah.
is why I'm like, yeah, I think I want to take a break from the school so I can just sit, so I can enjoy my house, so I can
Mm-hmm.
enjoy them. Not that I haven't been doing it, but I also been feel like I've been on the go, go, go,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Like
Yeah.
I've been on the go, go, go shit, to be real with you, since 2019. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been, boom, 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 boom. And so now I'm like, what would it look like if I'm not on the go, go, go? And I'm, just able to just kind of rest a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially as they get older, as, things like this week they're with their dad, right? And so I'm like, wow, this is a whole week to myself
Hmm.
without the kids. And what am I going to do? Right? Am I going to fill my time with busyness? Or am I going to sit down and actually just try to rest and sit even with my emotions of missing them? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
just trying to be more present. But I'll never say never to continuing. I just the way that academia has been set up, and me as a Black woman in that space, it just feels very harmful and traumatizing for us a lot.
Mm,
And I'm wondering, what would it look like if we didn't try to go achieve so many degrees, right? Like,
yeah,
what if we just sat? You
yeah.
know what I mean? I mean, and unless you just really like school and want to do it, that's cool. But I
Hmm.
know myself, it was definitely a trauma response.
Yeah,
I didn't need this extra degree. I could do exactly what I wanted to do as far as consulting wise, right?
yeah,
But
yeah,
I did want to get into behavioral health a little bit more,
yeah,
and look at the clinical perspective of it, which is why I went back. And I'm glad I did. But I just don't think I'll do a PhD right now. I think I need a break.
yeah. No, I think that that is good. I've had somebody on the show one time, and we were talking about experiences as a Black person, as a Black woman in academia,
Mhm.
and how different it is from the classmates
Yeah.
of the dominant culture that come up. What have been some of your experiences?
Who, girl? It's very hard for me to connect, especially in the behavioral health field, because I'm doing social work, right? And it is predominantly white, right? Predominantly white, female identified, couple
Hmm.
of white males here and there, and I question their intentions and the reason why I question their intentions, because the field of social work is still very conservative.
Mm,
So, and we don't really train a lot of social workers on, for example, being comfortable with talking about sexuality.
hmm.
That's not, I mean, at least at that school, I know California requires it for licensing,
Hmm.
but New York doesn't require human sexuality
Hmm.
for their licensing.
Hmm.
We don't, but they were uncomfortable talking about race and racism.
Hmm.
They were uncomfortable talking about client experiences. It's almost like they just wanted to talk about the diagnosis
Hmm.
and the treatment plan, like using all these interventions, but
Hmm.
not what's really happening with the client. So for
Hmm.
me, I struggled with, how do I know this is someone having depression, right? Or are they responding to the environment that they're in?
Hmm.
And we could never have that conversation. It was like even the professors would clam up a bit. And they would think of it, they would want to talk about racism as like a bias, not a symptom, right? Like
Hmm.
I actually think it's a very much, I think it's a disease of
Hmm.
people to
Hmm.
be racist. I do. Just the kind of psychosis that happens when someone's being racist or anti-black towards a person is very similar to like sociopath or psychopathic behavior. So I just didn't like that we weren't able to go there. A lot of
Hmm.
them were very much privileged young people who were like, yeah, I want to get in social work to make me feel better as a white person. But I really don't want to challenge the system or try to
Yeah,
fix things. So that bothered me. We just weren't able to connect. A lot
yeah,
of them haven't had experiences with other groups, which again to me is odd, because if you're in social work,
yeah,
that's the entire makeup of this, right?
absolutely.
You cannot isolate yourself on your experience. And then, like I said, a lot of judgment. I had a person one time who talked about, and this is actually a woman of color. She was talking about a client who was Native American woman, had her kids taken away from her. She was on substance use. She was living in like one of those single resident facilities.
Hmm.
She had one child with her, but was trying to go back to court to get another child. So she had to go to these court order case management check-ins.
Hmm.
So she's trying to get to court.
Hmm.
She's on the phone with the case manager. The case manager is upset at her because the client is not in a private area.
Hmm.
So, they have these privacy rules where you cannot talk about in public. However, this woman is trying to get to court to go to a custody hearing for her other children. So
Mhm.
she's like, I'll take the appointment. I don't care. We talk about it I'm on the bus. Let's just talk because I got to get to where I got to go. I also got to do this because the court
Mhm.
ordered me to do it. So I don't
Mhm.
want to miss it
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
you're going to tell the court that, right?
Mhm.
So the
Mhm.
woman in my program who's studying to be a social worker didn't understand that. She didn't take in anything of that consideration of that client. She was like, you're not in a private space. We can reschedule. Um, I asked her this. She's not opening up to me. Well, of course, I wouldn't open up to you either because I'm trying to get my children back
Yep.
and I'm trying to do what I can do. I'm a Native American woman. Like,
Mhm.
we already know what my history is like and what it is contemporary. But
Mhm.
none of that came into consideration. It was all about she's not doing this and I need to
Mhm.
punish her for it.
Yeah.
Class, help me punish this woman for it. It's
Yeah.
time to.
Yeah.
So it was. I think the moment changed for me because now me and this woman, the woman, person in my cohort, we're going back and forth, and I'm the only one in the program saying, "Are you considering what this woman is going through?" She's going to court to try to get her kids back, and you're mad at her because she didn't have any privacy. She doesn't have any privacy anyway. She's in a residential facility, right?
Mhm.
There's no
Mhm.
privacy anyway. So
Mm-mm.
what can
Mm-mm.
you do to be creative to support this woman, right? And you're not thinking about that because you're so focused on the policy of the organization and what they need that you're not even being creative, which as a social worker, you are called to be creative and innovative to help these clients as a clinician, right?
Mhm.
That's what
Mhm.
we're trained to do is think about different approaches to
Mhm.
meet this client where they're at. And so I think that's what turned me off of the academia setting. As I said, oh, you're admitting people based off of their academic performance, but not based off their emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people do not have common sense, emotional intelligence. They don't have creativity, but they're being social workers. You guys are giving them license, and they're going right back out and they're doing harm. And on the flip side, they're also required to adhere to this system
Yeah.
of rules that don't
Yes.
make any sense.
Mhm.
Um, because you all have this bottom line of how you want to treat clients.
Yep.
But it's all within it, rooted in a system of white supremacy culture that does not really want to see people get better, even
Right.
white people. They would
Yeah.
rather you be diagnosed and on medication.
Mhm.
Because why would you have such a strenuous rule about privacy when this person is unhoused?
It doesn't even
Other
make
than that,
sense.
she's unhoused. Like there
Yeah.
has to be some type of way for you to be or go to her, right? Like
Mhm.
you could also say, "Hey, I'm gonna come to you, and we can go for a walk. Go,
Go for a
have
walk.
lunch. Bring your baby. We'll have some dinner, and we'll talk about this. Like, you know what I mean?"
Yeah.
And they were just like the one woman. She said something that really angered me was, "Well, she's trying to get this 25 gift card." And at the time, the woman was in San Francisco, and I was like, "What the fuck do you think $25 is going to do for this woman in San Francisco? Not a damn thing. She ain't trying to get this gift card. She's trying to get her kids back."
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
anyways, long rant, but
Mm.
that's what turned me off is just the inability and the professors too. I think they were binded by university rules where they couldn't really dive into and challenge students' perspective on these dynamics. And I'm like,
Mm.
but that's what you're here to do is to
That's what
push
you're supposed
us.
to do. Yeah.
Yeah, you're supposed to push us into thinking differently, but it's all about, I think I had one professor, she told me, well, I can't push back because I don't know whose kid is a donor's kid,
Mhm.
and that
Mhm.
kid goes and reports me to the thing, and then the yaze, yaze. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But we're
So
not
that's
doing.
also why I'm like, I don't think I can do another academic experience because they either allow racism to really fester and they don't have the tools to truly address it,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to the white people causing harm,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Especially in fields like social work. Because
yeah,
y'all, you and I talked about this when you were making the decision to go
yeah,
back to school and what area of focus. And I was saying, well, social workers are more about the systems at play.
yeah.
And I think it has to be fairly new. I don't, somebody told me this, like a social worker, where it's fairly new that social workers act as therapists,
Yeah.
like in like one-on-one therapy, because
Right.
social workers are trained for this, like to understand the systems at
Yeah.
play.
Yep.
They know, like they are systems people, whereas
Mhm.
MFTs like myself, we are more about the individual, what behaviors brought you here, the family
Mhm.
unit, the structure,
Mhm.
whereas y'all are that too, but it's the environment,
It's
right? Like
environment, right.
you do a lot of that. And if y'all are social workers out there and you disagree, I'm sorry, but that is what the social worker.
No, that's why I chose it, right?
Yes,
That's why
yes,
I chose it, and I wanted the clinical track, particularly for the system, the macro, because
yeah,
the clinical side of it to me, just again, if we're hiring people to give services or to give therapeutic services, our structure sucks on how we do that. From the you got to bill Medi-Cal immediately, you got to diagnose this person immediately, and so, to your point, social workers that may even do the clinical practices, why aren't we challenging that part of
mm-hmm,
it? Because that's what we're trained to do.
mm-hmm,
You're
mm-hmm.
absolutely right. We shouldn't be living in a bubble of just seeing clients. And I do think that's kind of how they've trained us to do, because most of my classes were about one on one client engagement.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't necessarily about, some of them were about like the healthcare system, but they didn't really give us strategies on how to really address these dynamics. They talked about larger healthcare systems, sometimes about policy, but I was more looking for us to talk about the behavioral healthcare system
Mm-hmm.
and the billing and all of that stuff that comes into place. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think is fairly new, and I also think that's why it's so hard for them to actually think about racism as an issue that could be diagnosed, right? Because it's new, and they don't really understand like the impact that it has, because they're thinking systems maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, but I think it all intersects with each other for sure.
Yeah.
And I really think that you cannot, if you don't have the capacity to hear about an individual's experience and what they're up against on a macro level,
Yeah.
I don't know how you can treat them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's hard for you to talk about sexuality or racism, or if there's not a lot of studies about uh, better treatment options or better interventions for people of color or LGBTQIA. Like the fact that there was just limited research on that also was like, what the hell are y'all doing? Like,
Yeah.
this is the majority of your population that you're serving. You mean to tell me there's limited research on Black people and what they need? Like, and also think like maybe it's not that it's limited research. You all aren't accepting and publishing the research of other Black clinical psychologists
Yeah.
or psychiatrists that are actually saying that racism is a problem.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what I mean? Because I'm
Well,
like, it
yeah.
can't be limited. There's too many progressive and forward facing clinicians for me to believe that you all just don't have these studies. I think you just don't accept some of the
Yeah.
things that they're saying, because it would turn around the status quo.
Absolutely. I mean, we have Dr. Joy DeGruy that talks
Mhm.
about post traumatic slave syndrome. There's Kimberly Crenshaw that talks about intersectionality and how that shows up. I mean, there are people who are out there who talk about racism and how racism contributes to depression, anxiety, PTSD, or hyper,
Mhm.
sensitivity, all these things. And even when I was going back to school, that was one of the things I was like, I should probably do my research about. I have
Yeah.
59 things that I probably should do research about. I always talk about them, but like this particular thing, I'm like, it really can stand on its own to
Yeah.
be a diagnosis if you had to pathologize it.
You could. You
It-
really, you really could, because I'm just like, and there's another clinical psychologist. He passed away though. There's two of them. Dr. Amos Wilson and Bobby Wright. They
Mhm.
both
Mhm.
really studied like anti-blackness and racism, and they agree that it is a
Yeah.
it's a it's an illness, right?
Yeah.
um and you can see it because again the things that pop up for us as black people, and I just had this conversation in the class the other week. My professor decided to do a bias
Mhm.
exercise. So he showed a bunch of pictures of different people. He asked them what we would think if they were our supervisors. These are famous people, right? So he had Ted Bundy in there. He had, and of course the white people thought Ted Bundy was fine and he was handsome. I don't see it, but they were in love with him. So they thought he was cool. He had Rick Rubin, the guy from Def Jam.
Mhm.
They thought Rick Rubin was a Unabomber. And then they tried to say that's what the Unabomber looked like. And I said, no, the Unabomber did not look like this. He was clean cut. He looked like this after he got caught. But he was clean cut because you guys know you trust white men who are clean cut and that you deem are attractive and they can do horrible shit. As you just mentioned, you thought Ted Bundy
With
was
Ted
handsome
Bundy.
and didn't know that this
Mhm.
was fucking Ted Bundy. Anyway, so then they had the black people, and he had three black people. All of them had stern faces. He had one that had a mugshot, which I thought was terrible.
Mm.
He had Michelle Alexandra, the woman who wrote the new Jim Crow, and then he had John Henry. And they all looked stern. And of course, one of the Asian women was like, "Oh, I wouldn't want her as my supervisor because she just looks mean and direct." And I said the same thing too. She looks mean, and I said I wonder why he picked all these images of the black people to look mean, but the white people he had some that looked mean, some who looked nice, some with piercings, some with non-piercings. He had Ted Bundy. He had a variety of different white people, but he chose the black people that looked stern. And so I asked him in the class. I said, "Did you do this intentionally?" And I said, I think we really need to have a discussion about this because you're opening up people, right? And so all the other people of color jumped into, because there were some white women pictures, photos of white women as well, and they were like, "Yeah, we don't trust white women," and you know, I just have never had a good experience with white women. And to me, I was like, this is dangerous
Mm.
because you all are opening this floodgate without a true discussion on why that is.
Yeah.
So you got the white women in the class who are hearing that they can't be trusted. You
Mhm.
got the black women in the class that are hearing, "Oh, you look firm and direct and mean,"
Mhm.
right? And then you had what? Hit one picture of an Asian woman who was happy, and everybody was like, "We don't. She's too young. We don't trust her." And no discussion about these dynamics. And so I had to come back because I ended up getting into it again with a couple other students. One was it was another black woman who was like, "I don't know why you're questioning the exercise. I'm trying to be devil's advocate," which I'm
Ugh,
like, "Girl,
I hate that
you're not being
phrase.
devil's advocate. You're being anti-black because you would not approach me this way if I was a white woman saying the very same thing. So you need to check your stuff there." But I came back to the class and said, "We're not talking about biases. We're talking about our participation in racism, sexism, and anti-blackness. You all said shit based off of your
Mhm.
connection to white supremacy culture.
Mhm.
You judge these people based off of that, right? You said Ted Bundy looks safe." But Rick Rubin does not, right? Like, and we know how that went, right? And so I gave them a bunch of resources and books.
Oh
I also told them
Lord.
that they could go to this fellowship because, again, for me, if we can't have a discussion about this from a very intentional place, and you guys are just looking at photos and naming out your biases and thinking you thought that was helping you with your awareness, that
Yeah.
that does not help.
No.
That just continues your biases that are unsolicited for no reason,
Yeah.
and you have no discussion or no foundational base on why this even exists. Because your
Yeah.
biases aren't even your biases; they've been programmed into you based off of a certain agenda.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, girl, that's been the eye opening. Like, oh, these people are about to go out into the world and they're
Mhm.
about to cause fucking harm
Mhm.
to a whole nother group of people.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
are they going to completely be away from the system because they know they're not helpful.
Or
You
they
know,
believe that they are and
girl, that
nobody's telling
yes,
them. So
that they're not
the supervisors that are nice are not
right.
going to tell them like, "Hey, have you thought about this?" Like I'm in a supervisory role right now
Mm-hmm.
because I'm at this space in my career where there is the question of supervising. And so at my
Yeah,
practicum, because
yeah.
I'm licensed, they're like, let's give this a try, right? Let's. And of course there's the supervisor in there, but I am facilitating the supervision group.
I love it. I love it.
And of course I approach everything. I'm me wherever I go, so I'm very warm. I'm understanding, I'm supportive, I validate, like all those other things. But there are some times where you're like, no, 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 you can't do that.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
yeah,
Or why are you showing up like this?
yeah.
What is happening for you when that came out of your mouth?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
you have to, because the thing is me as a supervisor, I want people to show up. We understand that there are biases. That
Mm-hmm.
is, we all have them. Even if you
Mm-hmm.
are the most aware person, you still have it.
Yeah.
Even if you're a
Yeah.
black person, we were
You
raised
got
in a
it.
white supremacist culture,
Mm-hmm.
a society, so we are going to have anti-blackness. We are.
For sure.
What do we
Yeah.
do if we see a black man that look even in your neighborhood that we have been told is out of place?
Right.
Are
Right.
we gazing at him a little bit longer? That sort of thing. So it's not about the bias per se. It's about how are we, when we recognize it, how do we unpack it?
Right. Yeah.
That is what you need to do. And so yeah, I don't like. Yeah.
Yeah, and for that school to be as prestigious as it was, I just thought they could have had a better approach.
Sure.
They actually should mandate all of us taking a class on human sexuality, racism, anti-blackness. Like that should have been part of our requirements,
Yeah.
regardless if you're getting licensed in New York or California, because again, your clients are going to come with various things, right?
Mhm.
Maybe even add in a religion class, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Just
Mhm.
because we have to, we can do the whole counter transference
Mhm.
um, of transferring our what we think the client should do, and that does not create a space of really healing,
Yeah.
right? And then, like I said, the majority of clients that a lot of them were serving were black families.
Oh yes. 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 Yes.
Black and brown families, and so you can't even have a conversation with your classmate about racism, which is a free space, right? You ain't gonna get canceled from saying, yeah, asking questions about this shit. How you gonna do it with your clients? How are you going to unpack things with your clients? Like this one white woman was saying, she's seeing this young black girl, and she's like, "Yeah, I know the black girl doesn't trust me because she's just had a bad experience with white women, and she just doesn't like white women." I said, "No, white women don't like her. This is not. She's a child. She's had to
Right.
deal with adults who have been harsh on her. This is not about her liking white women and trusting white women. Y'all have been hard and dismissive and abusive to this young black girl. That's why she don't trust you. And
Mhm.
instead of you owning that, you're now putting the onus on this child and
Right.
what they like
Right.
when she's been shown by three different people,
Mhm.
that three different white women that she encountered, her teachers, including now her social worker,
Mhm.
that y'all don't like her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And you have a
there's no
problem with her.
pushing on that. You know what
Mhm.
I mean?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I had told her, I said, "Girl, this is the problem, girl." So that's the thing about it. You are the only one that's trying to
Yeah.
speak out against these things,
Oh yeah.
and it comes off as you being the one to be mean. But
Mhm.
I had to tell her, I said, it's not about her liking you. Y'all don't like her.
Mhm.
Let's turn that shit around. This is a child.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if she's experiencing adults like this, isn't it your responsibility as the adult to change that perspective for her,
Mhm.
not
Mhm.
make it about, well, she doesn't like white women. She's a child. She's been experiencing y'all from a different lens. Y'all don't like her. And no one's
Mhm.
been nurturing to her, supportive of her, or seeing her for her brilliance. But y'all are the ones that she has to interact with.
Mhm.
So I think for me, it's just the lack of the self reflection.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, this savior complex that a lot of them have,
Mhm.
also too very emotionally immature.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so for them to go into the field now where you have to have emotional intelligence, you have to have emotionally
You're supposed
maturity,
to.
you're
Mhm.
supposed to.
Mhm.
It's like, oh shit, damn, this is the next wave, and this is why our behavioral health has not gotten better, because you
Mhm.
got to deal with the individuals and then the actual system that is just trying to make a profit.
Yeah.
Oh
Well, and we should
man,
always be growing, right?
yeah,
Because as human beings, we evolve.
yeah,
So it doesn't stop at school. I don't even think school is where you get the real learning from. It is
no,
being out in the field and practicing and doing and talking and reading and experiencing
yeah,
life. And I don't know how you can be a therapist or be a social worker without experiencing life and seeing it,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, from different lenses, or putting yourself out there to experience. You know, some people just have their specialty. Like some people, like I work with kids. Kids are not my ministry, and so I just don't do it. But there are some people where that is their focus, and it's like they've
yeah,
experienced things, they know stuff, they're always wanting to learn stuff. I've worked with white people where they decenter themselves. Like,
yeah,
why is this person showing up like this towards me? Okay, they
yeah,
have a history of this. Okay, how do I need to show up and still do
yeah,
my job, but
right.
I have to show up in a different way. And they will
Definitely.
consult with other people of color or black
Mhm,
people and be like,
mhm,
I'm this person's therapist, I'm this person's social worker. Okay, what is happening here? What's at play?
right, right.
But that takes humility. And a lot
Yeah,
of people do not have
yeah,
humility. I went to
definitely.
Columbia. So, what can you
Yeah,
tell me about being a social
right.
worker?
A lot.
A lot.
You need a lot of help, right?
A
Yeah,
lot of help. Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, boy mom, that's
Yes.
you. I didn't know how to transition that, so forgive me. Boy
No, you
mom
mhm.
is you and
Mhm.
myself. You also have
Mhm.
a daughter.
Yes.
What has been your experience with do you find it to be different? Are you nervous?
Yeah.
What is coming up for you about parenting a young boy, son, future grown man?
Oh, so much. Well, thank you for that beautiful question.
You're welcome.
So my daughter and I have to be mindful of this, right? Because she is me. And there's
Mm-hmm.
already just a connection with us being the same gender. We have very similar personalities, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We don't
Mm-hmm.
like being told what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And so
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I have to remind myself that she also needs nurturing as well too.
Yeah.
So I think for me I struggle, not struggle, but I'm in the balance of like me and Naima, we had our time together.
Yeah.
She's been mine, right? And now I have to make sure I'm giving that same attention to, or similar attention to Riyadh as well.
Yeah.
And sometimes it means I'm trying to allow Naima to be a little bit more independent, and do things without me, but also to knowing that she still very much wants my attention.
Yeah.
And her and Riyadh sometimes not sometimes, they fight over me. They
Mm-hmm.
fight over who sits next to me. They fight over,
Mm-hmm.
girl.
Mm-hmm.
They fight over me, which is beautiful and sometimes very overwhelming. But
Mm-hmm.
I say that all that to say, so Naima is my little fire, right? She came. I was thinking about like what each of these children have come into my life to teach me. Naima taught me to be empowered and activate my voice, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And to really stand up for myself, and because she doesn't deal with stuff, right? She don't tolerate no disrespect. So
Mm-hmm.
she that's what she's here for. She's my fireball. she's also extremely smart, and she knows what she wants, right?
Mhm.
She will
Mhm.
tell you with a straight face.
Mhm.
Riyadh, on the other hand, is very much, he's my nurturing side that I think I've closed off a little bit because, again, that whole gotta be on the go so much.
Mhm.
But he is teaching me how to love,
Mhm.
right? And I don't know if it's because he's the opposite gender of me, and there's just this different connection. But he will grab my face sometimes and kiss me. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? He will, if he hears me being upset, or he hears, like at work, if I'm at work and I'm in a meeting and he hears my voice elevate a certain way, he's coming over here to sit in my lap. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? So
Mhm.
he's super nurturing. Our Even when we all still sleep together, they ain't gonna be in my bed for a minute. It's cool. Naima, she falls in a deep sleep. I can leave her by herself and move. Right, I will move to the opposite side of the bed so I can have space. I kid you not, Chill. Every time I wake up, Riyadh is right next to me. He'll lay next to Naima. They'll lay next to each other. He'll be out, hands up, mouth open, snoring and stuff. So I'm like, cool. I got some time to myself. So I go to sleep. That boy wakes up to find me
Mhm.
and will lay next to me. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
So he is, as I'm saying that loud, he's teaching me. He's teaching me love, right?
Mhm.
And he's also teaching me how to make sure I'm emotionally available for both of them,
Mhm.
right? Even Naima is teaching me this too because she's very much in tune with her emotions. But
Mhm.
Riyadh, because he's still learning language and how to, what he needs to say. He's very much the nonverbal emotional availability,
Mhm.
right? The hugging, the kissing, the being next to me, the having, he just has to put his foot on me. He could be laying on the opposite side of the couch. And then if I come and sit down, he either has to sit under me or he has to touch me in some way,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Naima was like that too, but I think it was just different because it was like, okay, this is my baby, this is my girl, right? And then Riyadh came, and ooh, am I about to go really deep? I am. Oh shit! I just had an epiphany. If I get emotional, I'm sorry. How can I say this? Because of my um, complex and nuanced relationships with the opposite sex,
Mhm.
Riyadh's way of affection and love towards me sometimes throws me off a bit
Mhm.
because I'm like, oh, you really love me,
Mhm.
right? And although I have brothers, and I had my two dads, um, that level of love and in my relationships, I have not experienced from the
Mhm.
opposite sex.
Mhm.
So when you have a son, or me having a son, it has literally changed my mindset on men.
Mhm.
It has made me to be a lot more aware
Mhm.
of what's happening, like hyper aware with Riyadh.
Mhm.
Like, I don't even like people describing him in a certain way,
Mhm.
right? Because I know that there's going to be some times where Riyadh will be misunderstood,
Mhm.
or where he will be seen as older than what he actually is,
Mhm.
where he will not be able to express the joy that he gets to express now with me
Mhm.
because we have some very toxic heteronormative ways that we train our boys to be,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So I get emotional about it because it almost makes me feel like I have to overly protect him, but I also don't want to coddle him.
Mhm.
But I
Mhm.
also want to be the safe space for him
Mhm.
because I know he's going to go out in this world as a young black man
Mhm.
and have these things that he has to overcome, and even sometimes from other black men. Like the
Mhm.
way that I have gotten to understand how boys are not protected, they have to fight against literally everybody, particularly black boys, and including each other.
Mhm.
Uh, it is a lot.
Mhm.
It can be a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Because we have that too, the kind of cattiness with girls,
Oh yeah.
right? And I definitely think it's gotten worse over the years in some sense, but it's not the level of violence that is daily experienced by boys, right? Like, I have, I've I've been talking to some men and I just asked them, like, you seem so tense all the time.
Mm,
And they're tense because they're constantly looking at their surroundings. They're
mm,
constantly like, I gotta be on alert because shit can go down any minute.
yep.
And I need to either protect my family or I need to do some, do whatever, right? And that's crazy to me.
Mhm.
Because I'm like, where does that shift? And so I'm almost anticipating when the shift will happen with Riyadh. And that is what makes me kind of sad and emotional
Yeah.
because I know there's nothing that I can do to stop it because of the world that we live in.
Yeah.
That was long.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. I feel the same. I just have the one child, as everybody knows, but I'm going through this sense of grieving because it does shift really
Yeah.
quickly. And it I think the world is hard enough. And so at home, I definitely have created, I feel like a safe space for him to fall back in softness.
Yeah.
But he also has dad who is like aware of what black men experience.
Yeah.
And so he is a little harder, where it's
Yeah.
like there are
Yeah.
these expectations that you will have to meet out in the
Yeah.
world, and you need to be ready for that. And this is, and it comes from like the chores, the
Yeah.
discussions, the no, go back and do it again. Whereas I'm like, he already tried to do it one time, let him.
Yeah.
And
Girl.
and that is
Girl.
Dan and I will have conflict
Yeah.
because it is like the world is hard enough for him, and I don't want him to feel as in the world, in our home, that
Yeah. Yeah.
it's disruption or disease, right, for
Mm-hmm.
him. And Dan
Mm-hmm.
is like, I don't want him to have that either, but I want him to go out into the world and be prepared that it is
Yeah.
not like home,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's not going to get you in spaces where it's like it's okay, or all the other women in our
I
life,
know,
right?
right? But we
um
can pull up.
we can pull
We can go wherever Alex is at, okay?
ever,
Me and you. No, I'm just kidding.
wherever. Right.
Girl, listen, where he at Dubai? Okay, let me get a ticket real quick, so we can go.
We gotta go take care of some shit real.
Right.
And
I
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Oh,
so it's hard.
yeah.
It's like this hard balance where I'll get in my little phases where I'm like, he needs to blah, 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 blah. And then in the next breath I'm like,
Right.
like,
Right.
and he, it's, yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. um
Girl.
and
Yeah.
I know
I
that
understand before. And I think I would make fun of you. Like, Choco, you just are so on him and
you
be laughing, girl.
do.
I get it now. I
Yeah.
get it now.
Yes.
You want to follow them. You want to. And it's like I said, it's so weird. It's not the same with Naima. I
Yeah.
don't, Naima, and not that I would ever make it different for them. They both got to fucking clean up, right?
Mm-hmm.
They both
Mm-hmm.
got to do their chores here. But it's like, and it could be because Rihanna's too, right? So I also need to just
Mm-hmm.
be in reality of that.
Mm-hmm.
He is my baby.
Mm-hmm.
I just really had him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you did 2 years
I
ago.
just really
Mm-hmm.
had him.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying not to overly be like, let me prepare him for the world. Somebody gave me some really good advice. They were like, just continue to nurture him and do what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you
That's
don't
it.
got to do anything extra. Just love him,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's not the time right now for you to
Nope.
do that.
Nope.
So
Nope.
don't overly put, stress on yourself. It was a man that I talked was telling me this. He was like, you're fine. Just love him,
Yep.
right? This is
That's it.
the time you need to nurture him.
Yep.
So I try not to overly think it, but you look at him and you're just like,
I
this is my
know.
baby. This is my heart. They're both my hearts. I have
Mm-hmm.
two hearts in the world, and they're
Mm-hmm.
it's like a balance of having to love these hearts differently because they're going to need different things from me,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Naima, because she is me, right? I don't want her to think my love is tied to her success.
Yeah.
I want her to know that I love her whether she accomplishes something or not,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want her to have that space to say her emotions. I'll be like, girl, you doing too much to me, but I
Mm-hmm.
do want her to feel safe to where she will come to me,
Right.
right? I know
Right.
I told my mom everything. Some things
Right.
I waited to tell her, but I went to her, right? So
Eventually.
I want that for Naima too, and I also don't want her to think that she just has to accomplish things to make mommy happy,
Right.
right?
Right.
So I'm even trying to tell her when we get into our spats, I'm getting into it with the 5-year-old, to hug her, to apologize, and to tell her I love her still.
Right.
You know, and then there's Riyadh, who's a little bit on the quieter side, and he's like my introverted side because he'll be off to himself, but he needs to know that I'm there,
Yeah.
and I have to advocate for him in a way that I did not have to do with Naima. I mean, I did, but did not,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because he's male, there's these expectations for him to be a certain way
Mm-hmm.
that I am not okay with.
Yeah.
So that's the hard part, I think, is you know, the maleness of it all. Like
Mm-hmm.
I really I'm about to get emotional. I feel for black men. I do. And it's not to say that we don't go through our stuff too, but I just think we have really messed them up by telling them to suppress their emotions and who they are.
Yeah.
And they have tied themselves to the patriarchy in ways that I don't know if they understand their true value outside of what they can do for other people, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want Riyadh to go into that. I also don't want to, I want to be mindful of not, because I do see mothers do this too, making Riyadh my savior,
Yeah.
right? I want him to love, explore. He can still love and protect me and all that other stuff, but I don't want him being a substitute for what I am still
Yeah.
trying to have with a
Yeah.
an adult, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all these things go through my head, girl. I just need to. I've been focusing on taking it one day at a time, but like I said, I am noticing the older that he's getting, the more I'm like, oh, this is different.
Yes. Yes.
This is a different type of mother son bond. I
Yeah.
I totally get it now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Okay. Last question
Okay,
because
we've been talking, girl. I didn't.
we have, and
We've been
girl,
talking.
I
I'm
have
sorry,
I have an
talking,
assignment that I need to submit. So,
girl.
because I can do this all day with you.
Girl, you too.
Last question. What is
Yeah.
liberation for you?
Oh man, it's a beautiful question.
Thank you.
That's a beautiful question. Liberation to me is, I would say, complete authenticity
Hmm.
of oneself with the detachment of societal's standard and rules,
Mm,
right? My journey into liberation, particularly for black people, is to get us to be detached from these systems. And they, as I see them, they have not been helpful to us.
hmm.
We have been very much attached to these systems.
Yeah.
And I want us to liberate us from that so that we can focus more on us collectively
Hmm.
and get into the healing of us outside of all of this stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
That to me would be true liberation for us. Also, being able, I think liberation is in love,
Hmm.
is in grace,
Hmm.
is in healing,
Hmm.
is in us being able to open up our heart chakras fully and honestly, and then us moving from a people of surviving
Yeah.
to a people of thriving,
Oh,
right? So
yeah. I love
that's what
that.
I think liberation looks like for us.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Friend, thank you for being here. as
Yeah,
always.
thanks for having me.
Are you going to come
Thanks for letting me
back?
go too.
Oh, thank
Huh?
you. Are you going to come back?
Of course,
Mm,
anytime, anytime,
okay.
girl.
I got.
'Cause then we can do something lighter. Sorry, y'all.
Oh yeah, we could do something lighter because.
Lighter. Maybe we can talk. We can do updates about my dating journey. I
Oh,
haven't been asked. I think the last time I talked to you, someone asked if I would be cuckolded, which is them watching me engage in intimacy with an alpha male,
oh.
and that was a yeah.
I will schedule our next session.
Your face. We can talk about that later next time.
Okay, so
Thank
I'll text you in a little bit and we'll set up our next session. I love
Okay.
you.
I love you too, Fred. Thank
I
you, Coco community. Love
Yay.
y'all.
And this is Chioko Grievous signing off.
Grievous, not grievous. Grievous. I was like, Choco Grievous? Grievous?
Grievous
Gross?
Grovos.
Girl, listen, if I would have sauld Chioco Garcia, you would have stopped happy. Stop being
And if you would, I wouldn't have been surprised. So
like, where'd you get Garcia from, friend? That's an
yeah.
R and an E.
Yeah.
An N-V.
All the other letters besides
There's
Garcia.
so many letters outside of how you spell Garcia.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I
I love
love
you,
you.
friend.
Have a good day.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Bye.